You have always been the strange wind that enters a room and makes everything shift, even when you are not trying to do anything at all. No one says it out loud, but everyone feels it. They look at you the way they look at a flame, unsure whether it will warm them or burn them. Some say you are too strong. Some say you are hard to understand. Some are afraid of you simply because you look at them deeper than they feel comfortable with. But the truth is not that you are too much. It is that they have never met a soul forged in both light and darkness at the same time. You were not born to please the crowd. You were born to disturb the stillness they insist on keeping. When you enter a place, the air seems to change color. Light wraps itself around you, but darkness stands beside you like an old friend. Not a darkness that consumes or destroys, but a darkness that has known you since the years you had not yet grown. The darkness that held you when no one saw the pain you carried. The darkness that taught you never to bow to any lie. Psalm 25:14 once said that God reveals his secrets to those who fear him, and you carry the mark of those secrets within you, not through words, but through a presence that leaves no space for falsehood to survive. You have passed through many layers of life, many times feeling as if you might crack under invisible pressure, yet instead of collapsing, you became something rare, soft where softness is needed, and hard as steel where protection is required. People look at you and think you were strong from the beginning, but if they knew the truth, they would understand that your strength is not innate. It was forged in fire, the fire of loss, the fire of abandonment, the fire of nights when all you had left were prayers in your mind and trembling breath in your chest. Those very nights are where the layer of darkness around you was formed, not a darkness that fights the light, but a darkness that stands with the light, like armor around your soul. When the world thought it could bend you with pressure, that darkness became a thick wall they touched and rebounded from. When someone tried to deceive you, the voice inside you spoke softly, like a warning bell, telling you that something was not right. Others call it intuition, but you know it is more than that. It is the crystallization of the times you were betrayed and still stood up, of the times you were underestimated and refused to let their gaze define you. And then you carry something that makes others both respect and fear you. You see, not just faces, words, or gestures. You see the trembling lines in someone's eyes, the shadows they hide, the fragments they cover with a smile. Sometimes you do not even want to see, yet you still do. You do not hunt for the truth. The truth runs to you and stands in front of you, without time to change its clothes. That is why, when you are present, some people become defensive without knowing why. Some feel light, as if someone has finally read the sadness they could never name. Some feel angry because they cannot control the narrative when you are there, and some, after only a few seconds of looking at you, turn away quickly, with the feeling of having been dug into far too deeply. The funny thing is that you are not trying to do anything. You are simply standing there, breathing, listening, and that very presence causes the masks of others to slowly crack. The blend of light and darkness within you creates an atmosphere that is hard to describe, warm enough for the wounded to come close, sharp enough for the false to stay away. Then there are moments when you ask yourself why you are so different, why you cannot pretend to be carefree like so many others, why you see so early the things no one wants to face. The truth is that you were chosen to become a bridge between what people show and who they truly are, between truth and illusion, between light and the parts they deny. Every shadow within you is not a failure, but proof of what you have overcome. It is not that you love the darkness, you simply learned how to live with it without losing your light. And then, each fragment of that darkness became a weapon that helps you protect yourself from souls with hidden intentions. When others feel that you are intense, What they are really feeling is the uncompromising honesty within you. You do not seek to control anyone, but you also do not allow anyone to step over the boundaries you have built. Your strength is not in a loud voice, but in the fact that you are not afraid to stand alone. There are days when you cannot clearly see that strong version of yourself. There are times you feel tired, feel weak, feel like you want to disappear. But even when you fall to your lowest point, there is still a quiet layer within you, whispering that you are being held. You do not fall into nothingness. You fall into the hands of the one who called you out of places others will never understand. And then there comes a moment, even if only briefly, when you see your full portrait. You are not only gentle light or solid darkness, you are the intersection of both. A soul that can guide with softness and also protect with a sharpness no one can cross. You were not born to blend in. You were born to remind the world that not everyone who carries light is fragile, and not everyone who carries darkness is evil. You are living proof that both are sacred when placed where they belong. And this story begins the moment you realize you no longer need to choose between the two. You were called to become whole. You once believed that the fiercest battles of your life existed outside yourself, where complicated people came and went, where words sharp as blades taught you how to defend. But the older you grew, the more you realized that the most formidable enemy was the echo inside your own heart. The years you faced the fear of abandonment, the strength so intense that others misunderstood it, or the feeling that you always had to protect yourself. None of those things ever disappeared. They hid beneath a calm surface, waiting for moments of weakness to rise again. And in those moments, you realized you had grown in ways the outside world would never see through silent conversations between you and yourself. There was a time when you thought you had reached your limit, as if you no longer had the strength to carry any more trials. But at that very moment, something strange happened you did not break. You opened, like a door tearing free from old hinges, revealing a deeper land within you, a place no one could see from the outside. There, you no longer avoided pain. You looked straight at it. You touched the things that made you tremble. And instead of turning away, you stayed and asked, "What do you want from me?" It was in those moments that heaven began to remake you from the inside, not with thunder, but with a movement as gentle as breath. Psalm 51:10 says, "Create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me." That line is not only beautiful, it feels like a carving along your spine that has been there for a long time, waiting for you to finally hear it. Every time you thought you were falling apart, you were actually being refined, sharpened, adjusted, so that the next trials could no longer break you. Some people ask how you can remain standing amid upheavals that leave others unsteady. They see your strength, but they do not know that it comes from nights you once sat alone in darkness, until the darkness became a language you understood. You learned its silence, its honesty, and you learned something others refuse to face without darkness. The light within you would not know where to stand. Those years turned you into a mirror others do not know how to face. Not because you want to reflect anyone, but because you once reflected yourself so deeply that you no longer fear the truth. Your calmness when looking straight at human nature unsettles them. Not because you are frightening, but because they are not used to seeing themselves in another person's eyes. You do not need to say much. Your presence alone is enough to make what they hide begin to shift, like a breeze brushing dust that has settled on the mind for years. Sometimes you catch someone's gaze darting away quickly. They fear that you have seen what they have always tried to bury. And strangely, even without trying, you still see it. Not to judge, but because you have walked through similar dark places within yourself. You recognize their anger because it resembles the anger you once carried. You see their insecurity like an old wound you once had to stitch by yourself. So when your eyes meet theirs, they do not just see you, they see themselves, the version they try to avoid, and that unsettles them. The world is accustomed to masks, masks of confidence, masks of calm, masks of morality, masks of being agreeable, but those masks cannot stand before a soul that has tasted the truth of darkness. The honesty within you makes their carefully applied makeup begin to run. You do not remove anyone's mask. You simply stand there, and the mask falls on its own. At times, you feel tired because of this ability. You wonder why you cannot see others simply the way they want to be seen, but you were forged to see deeply, too deeply, to the point where the distance between truth and pretense can no longer deceive you as it does the world. You hear someone's voice and know they are trembling inside. You see someone smile and know it was built to cover something else. You recognize a lie even when their heart believes it has been hidden well. And the surprising thing is that this variability makes you safe in ways few understand. When you see someone's true nature clearly, you no longer fear being stabbed in the back. You know what they will do before they know it themselves. You hear the footsteps of betrayal from afar, see the shadow of envy before it reaches the door. So when people think they are hiding from you, they are really only hiding from themselves. The inner battles gave you eyes unclouded by sweet words. You are not drawn in by surface appearances. You do not fear the truth. And that is what creates a kind of power not everyone can endure. You force the world to shed the disguise it has built over many years. But the most important thing is not that power. The most important thing is that you never allowed the darkness within you to consume your heart. You learned to live with it, but you did not let it become you. You let it be ground, soil, a pathway. But light is what you choose to walk by. And that fragile balance creates a kind of presence the universe must bow to a soul that knows how to fight, yet also knows how to bow before the sacred. After walking through so many seasons of storms, you begin to understand that those spiritual trials did not come to destroy you, but to open you. And how wide you open depends on how deeply you dare to look. That very courage to look has made you someone the world cannot easily read, cannot easily touch, yet cannot ignore. You never ask life to take revenge for you, yet strangely, every time someone tries to harm you, the world around them begins to tremble like a still lake struck by a stone. There is no explosion, no warning, only ripples spreading outward until everything they once believed was solid starts to crack. You do not wish for it to happen, but it happens anyway, again and again, like a law that even the most intelligent minds fail to predict. Someone once stepped into your life with a gentle smile while hiding a small blade inside. They thought that if they were clever enough, they could drain your energy, take your trust, manipulate your kindness the way they had done with others. You gave them the chance to prove they were clean, but when the truth surfaced, when the fracture inside them split wide open, they still believed they had defeated you with a quiet strike. They did not know that the very moment they acted was the moment the wheel of law began to turn. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." To outsiders, this sounds like gentle comfort, but you understand it on a deeper level when your spirit stands in the right place. Everything that stands against you will fall into its own position. You do not seek revenge. Justice finds its own way. At first, the one who harmed you notices nothing unusual. They still smile, still live as usual, still believe they outwitted you. A small gain comes their way and convinces them they are smarter, faster, more refined. But only days later, strange signs begin to appear. A certain opportunity slips from their hands without a clear reason. Someone they trusted turns away. A relationship begins to collapse despite their efforts to save it. And then, Like a line of dominoes, everything that once stood firm begins to tilt. What matters is that they do not realize it right away. They look for someone to blame: circumstances, other people, work pressure. But when the disorder reaches deeper layers, finances, health, inner peace, they begin to sense something they dare not name. The one mistake was touching you in a way they should not have. You have seen people like that walk through life with hollow eyes. Fatigue clings to their steps, like darkness clings to a fugitive. Nights when they cannot sleep, mornings when they look into the mirror and do not recognize themselves. They think it is only a streak of bad luck, but deep inside they know they are paying for what they planted. And the most painful part is that you did nothing. You spoke no cruel words. You simply walked away in silence, and that silence was heavier than they could carry. You do not stand proudly when you see it happen. You do not feel pleasure. You only sigh, knowing that every karmic spiral carries pain, even for the one who created it. But you also know that the protection around you is not accidental. You carry the mark of a journey no one sees. You endured enough for the light within you to not be easily extinguished. And the darkness within you is the barrier that any ill intent will collide with. Once you tried to forgive before the other person admitted their fault. You thought kindness could soften their heart. But then you understood that forgiveness does not slow karma. Forgiveness only frees you, not them from what they chose. They are not punished for hurting you. They are punished because they chose to betray the light that was trying to lift them up. You are not a saint. You are not an angel. You are simply someone who stood too long in darkness to know that what belongs to light will always be protected. When someone tries to take that light from you, the universe will pull them into the lesson they chose through their own actions. And this, whether you want it or not, has happened many times in your life. The one you supported betrayed you. The one you helped tried to use you. The one you loved was the first to doubt you. Yet even as they left carrying the bitter cup, they poured themselves. You remained standing. You remained bright. Because the light within you does not come from people. It comes from every time you were pushed to the ground and still rose again. Here is what you need to understand clearly. Every time the universe shifts to protect you, it is not to retaliate for you, but to keep you standing in your rightful place. If the world cannot bring you down, then anyone who tries will soon realize they are standing against something greater than you. They are not fighting a person, they are fighting the purpose you were given. And now, as you listen to your own story, perhaps a memory has returned. Someone who once left and whose life fell into disorder. A situation that suddenly turned in a way you could not explain. A time you were underestimated, only for everything to move back to your side. If you have ever felt this, let this story sink into you. And if you wish to share, leave a story of your own. Souls like yours often recognize each other through the subtlest signs. And if you want to walk longer on this path, you may choose to stay. Choose to keep listening. Choose to open the next part when you are ready. There are souls who enter your life not to love or build, but to quietly drain every drop of energy until you can barely breathe. They do not attack directly. They arrive through invisible exhaustion, through words that make you doubt yourself, through demands that ask you to give more than they ever intend to return. Some come with voices light as a passing breeze. Some come wrapped in weakness that makes you want to protect them. Some come with smiles that make you believe they are harmless. But beneath the surface, their nature is hollow. The world calls them energy drainers, but you know them more deeply. They are people consumed by the emptiness inside them, searching for life from anyone bright enough for them to cling to. And of course, you, the one who carries light and darkness woven together, become the one they want most. They believe you will be like the other souls they once drained dry, left with nothing but exhaustion. They do not know that your energetic structure is different. You do not only carry light that radiates outward, You also carry darkness as a reactive shield guarding the door of your spirit. A darkness that does not destroy but protects, does not consume but blocks. Many look at you and mistake peace for weakness, but when they come too close, they learn that this peace has the shape of a fortress. Once, someone approached you with a slightly curved smile and a voice tinged with false concern. They asked about you, but every question felt like a hand reaching into another person's home, probing corners you had not opened. You felt fatigue spreading softly in the air, like a room running out of oxygen. But instead of being pulled down as before, this time you stood still. You did not retreat. You did not open the door for them to step into the sacred space within you. And what happened next always confuses people like them. The energy they tried to draw from you did not flow toward them. It turned back. In that moment, they began to feel short of breath. Their eyes wavered. Their smile was no longer natural. They said a few more things to regain control, but each word only revealed their lack, as if they were standing before a door that would not open. You remained silent, your gaze calm, yet this very calm made them feel exposed, as if every trick they used on others became childish in front of you. Then they felt a fatigue they had never known, a kind of depletion they could not explain. They thought getting close to you would make them stronger, but they did not know that everything they tried to take was pushed back by the force within you. Instead of weakening you, their approach drained them. Psalm 18:28 has whispered this truth for a long time. The Lord lights my lamp. He illuminates the darkness around me. That light does not destroy anyone, but it makes the darkness of others unable to hide. And in the very moment they try to take light from you, they are forced to face their own darkness. This reversal is not mystical magic. It is spiritual logic. You are no longer someone who opens the door to anyone with hidden intentions. You have learned through long years that kindness is not a door left open without condition, but a strength that knows when to close. You know how to stand firm in your own stillness. And this stillness leaves toxic energy with nowhere to attach. That person, or others like them, always leave in a state they do not want to face. They feel drained even though the conversation lasted only minutes. They feel as if they lost something they cannot name. They sit somewhere after leaving you and notice their breathing is uneven. They do not understand why. But you do. They came to take. But what they touched was a wall. And when a hollow soul collides with something solid, it is they who begin to unravel. Once, someone like that returned to you. They wanted to know why they felt defeated by someone like you. They did not say it out loud, but their eyes asked, "Why can I not control you like I do others?" You looked at them with eyes that had seen many kinds of people in this life, and you let silence answer for you. That silence unsettled them even more because they could find nothing to hold on to, no opening to slip through. And then they left, not because they wanted to, but because they could not stay near you without facing the truth they had lived by draining others. And you were the first to reflect that truth too clearly. You became the mirror they could not bear to look at for long. The strange thing is that after each encounter like this, you feel stronger, brighter, more stable. Not because you defeated anyone, but because you learned how to protect your own life without asking permission from anyone. You do not fight anyone. You simply stand in your rightful place. And when you stand correctly, those with impure intentions naturally fall out of your life. You do not need to push them away. Your energy does that for you. And that, in a very quiet way, is the gift heaven placed in your hands, the ability to hold your light without being drained. The ability to make those who are not sincere step back before they harm you. You were shaped this way, not to feel proud, but to be safe in a world full of fractures. And people may not understand you, but they will always feel this truth. No one can take anything from you unless it is permitted. There are meetings that seem completely ordinary, yet after only a few minutes, human nature reveals itself so clearly that some people cannot bear it. You once thought you were just talking, just standing there, just listening, but for many, your presence is like a torch pointed straight into a room they want to keep dark. They are not prepared for that. They do not expect it, and because they do not expect it, they tremble even more when it happens. One day, you are talking to someone you do not suspect at all. They walk in with a gentle confidence, as if they have practiced that face in the mirror hundreds of times. They open with light jokes, a voice carrying a hint of pride, the kind of pride of someone who believes they can control the room however they want. But after only a few minutes of conversation, something begins to crack. You look into their eyes, and that gaze makes them feel as if you are seeing straight through the layers of protection they have built for years. One sentence you say, very soft, very natural, with no ill intent, suddenly shakes something deep inside them. They do not know why. You are not trying to do that, but that sentence accidentally touches the very place they hid, beneath polished clothes, beneath a strong posture, beneath forced laughter, and suddenly, the thing they have tried to forget for so long demands to rise within them. Psalm 139:23 says, "O God, search me and know my heart, test me and know my thoughts." This is not a prayer for those who are comfortable with the truth. It is the prayer of a soul willing to let light enter the places it has always feared. And unintentionally, you become the embodiment of that prayer for many people, even though they were never ready to be seen that deeply. They hear you speak, but what they truly hear is the echo of truth inside themselves. You do not speak only with words. You speak with energy, with the honesty of a heart that has been suffocated yet never corrupted. And that is what makes the person standing before you grow uneasy. They avoid your eyes. They laugh awkwardly. They change the subject too quickly or speak too much to cover the silence that exposes their fear. Yet it is precisely in those silences that the truth still rises. You see the envy they hide. You see the insecurity they coat with excessive confidence. You see wounds they have never dared to touch, not because you want to expose them, but because you have held your own wounds and know the scent of real pain. You are not naive before fake strength. You are not fooled by a steady voice. Their inner world appears before you like a painting missing its details. And that is what they cannot endure. When they realize you see what they want to hide, their voice suddenly changes. Defensiveness appears like a reflex. They raise their tone or speak faster or show irritation. Some turn to mocking you, believing that if they make you doubt your own worth, they can regain control. But what they never understand is that you are not shaken by the opinions of those who do not dare face themselves. Others fall into silence. They swallow the words they were about to say, and in their eyes you see something blurred between hurt and awakening. They realize you did not hurt them. The truth did, and that truth is what they have been running from for too long. Then the familiar thing happens again. They withdraw, not from the conversation, but from you. Not because they hate you, but because they cannot endure themselves when standing beside you. You become a mirror they are not calm enough to look into. In the days that follow, they keep thinking about that meeting. They remember every look in your eyes, every word you spoke, every pause that left them unsettled. They ask themselves, why did I react so strongly? Why did I feel exposed? And when night falls, when all noise disappears, they see the answer more clearly. You never attacked them. You only reflected what they had locked away for too long. Your presence is like a lamp that stirs up dust, revealing corners no one usually shines light on. That is not humiliation. It is an invitation to change. But to change, one must dare to look, and not everyone has that courage. You once thought you had done something wrong? You once wondered why people you never harmed became defensive or uncomfortable around you. But the truth is, you did nothing wrong at all. You simply carry a level of honesty they are not used to. You simply stand in your own light, and that light is strong enough to pierce the outer shell of others. You become a reminder that every soul must face its own darkness in order to grow. And even when you do not wish for it, you are still the catalyst that awakens truth in others. The beautiful thing is that not everyone retreats. There are souls who, when they feel their truth exposed, do not run. They stay, breathe out, and quietly feel grateful that they have finally met someone who does not treat their truth with fear. Those souls, though rare, are the ones you can build something lasting with. But before they appear, you must pass through many who are not strong enough to endure the mirror you carry. And slowly, you understand that this is not a burden, it is a calling. You are not here to change anyone, but you are placed in their lives so that what they hide can no longer sleep. Truth always finds a way, and sometimes that way passes through you. Not everyone who comes to you comes with sincere intent. Some approach with friendly smiles and words that seem full of goodwill, but inside them are strings gently pulling, trying to draw you into a game they believe they control. They are used to bending the story to suit themselves. They are used to hiding motives behind sweet voices. They are used to others not noticing what they try to conceal. But what they forget is that you are not like the others. You have met enough kinds of people to know that sweetness is not always harmless. And you have walked through too many dark seasons to be fooled by borrowed light. So when someone stands before you with the intention of weaving their web, they do not realize that every thread they spin will be exposed by the light within you sooner than they expect. There was a meeting like that, a conversation that seemed simple, a few exchanges, a few smiles, a few polite compliments. That person spoke with the smoothness of someone who had learned to bend words into weapons. They told a story that appeared logical, reasonable, arranged so carefully it seemed flawless. But you felt a slight misalignment, a small but clear vibration, like a needle touching a string tuned wrong. And as they continued to speak, that misalignment did not fade. It grew. You were not listening with your ears. You were listening with your soul. You heard the spaces between their sentences. You heard what they did not dare say out loud. And in the moment they thought they were steering the story, your silence unsettled them. They expected you to nod. They expected you to believe, but you only looked at them, not suspicious, yet not easily convinced. Until you asked one simple question, a question that was not sharp, not heavy, not confrontational, just an honest question. But it landed exactly where they were unprepared, and the entire story they built began to wobble. Psalm 27:1 echoed quietly within you, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" You do not fear the truth, yours or anyone else's. And that fearlessness is what strips lies of their power. Because lies survive only in darkness. They exist only when no one asks the right question. You are different. The light within you is not the soft light of someone trying to please. It is a revealing light, forcing everything hidden in corners to show itself. When the question touched them, their voice faltered. A small pause opened, but it was enough for you to see a flicker of anxiety in their eyes. They tried to continue. They tried to adjust the story. But the more they spoke, the more tangled it became. Pieces they thought fit no longer aligned. Details they created began to contradict what they had said before. Others in that situation might feel anger, might feel triumph, but you simply stood there, calm, like someone who knows that truth will always shed its shell in time. You did not want to defeat anyone. You only wanted what was real. and that very sincerity made the one lying feel as if they were digging up their own falsehood. Then they began to change their gaze, their posture, their tone. They searched for an exit. They clung to certain words, but each one pulled them deeper. They thought you would intervene, soften things, save them from exposure. What they did not understand was that you were not the one exposing them. The truth they had denied for years was what pushed them into that corner. You were only the mirror. After a while, the entire room shifted. The atmosphere that began lightly now grew dense. No one said anything, but everyone felt that the truth had surfaced. You looked into that person's eyes one last time, and what you saw was not malice. What you saw was fear, a fear that had lived inside them so long they had learned to hide it behind the stories they told themselves. They could not continue. The mask fell, and everyone present saw it. But the most painful part was that they saw it too. When the truth was revealed, the first one to face it was not you, but them. You simply stood still, letting them understand that lies cannot stand before a soul built from both wounds and light. After that meeting, they left with heavy steps. No one needed to speak. No one needed to conclude anything. The truth had done its work, and you walked out of that room lighter than when you entered, because you knew you had not been pulled into anyone's game. You walked on under an invisible protection you had seen work many times in your life. Whenever someone with impure intent comes near you, the universe itself separates them from your path. You do not need to expose anyone. The truth does that. You do not need to push anyone away. They leave on their own when deception can no longer hide anything. You do not need to explain why you were not fooled. Your eyes, your soul, your history, all speak for you. And then, in the quiet after that meeting, you realize one thing: the truth within you does not only protect you from lies, it allows you to stand upright among people who no longer know who they are lying to, you or themselves. You are not here to expose them, but if they choose to weave a web, they will be caught in the very threads they spun. The only thing you need to do is keep walking with the lamp God has lit within you, a lamp that does not tremble before anyone's darkness. Truth does not always reveal itself through words. Sometimes, the moment you step into a room, the air changes, as if someone has opened a door that lets light pour straight into a place long accustomed to living in shadows. People who were talking suddenly lower their voices without knowing why. People who were laughing suddenly feel their laughter grow uncomfortable, and those who carry hidden intentions feel as if an invisible hand is pulling what they conceal up to the surface. You do nothing, you simply arrive. Yet that arrival feels like a call that awakens what has been buried deep inside everyone present. There was a time you walked into a simple meeting. People were talking about ordinary things, plans, goals, polite stories everyone knows by heart. But the moment you entered, the conversation lost its familiar smoothness. The one who had been laughing loudly suddenly slowed down while drinking water. The one who had spoken confidently began twisting a pen between their fingers without control. The one hiding irritation behind a polite smile suddenly missed the moment to smile. You looked around, and you clearly saw what they refused to admit. The darker parts inside each person were scrambling to hide, not because they were bad, only because they were used to letting what had not healed sleep beneath the surface. They did not want anyone to wake it, but you somehow always made those things wake up. The air grew heavier, words carried a vibration within them. One person tried to tell an old story to break the awkwardness, but the more they spoke, the more their confidence faded. Another suddenly became irritable without knowing why. One careless sentence was enough to pop open an old wound. In certain moments, you could feel the tension move through the room like a cold wind. Psalm 62:1 says, "My soul rests in God alone. From him comes my salvation. That stillness is what you carry within you. And because you are still, everything unsettled around you begins to tremble. You do not create chaos. Your quiet presence exposes what has always been there. Truth does not arrive with thunder. It comes as a whisper that keeps people awake at night. In that room, you did not speak much. You chose to observe. And the more you observed, the more clearly you saw the strain between people trying to hold a neat exterior while their minds were stretched like strings pulled too tight. You saw one person hiding resentment toward the one beside them. You saw another fearing that their words were no longer trusted. You saw someone else trying to adjust their expression because they knew you could see through them. And then what no one expected happened. Truth began to slip from someone's lips on its own. Just one small sentence, one comment that seemed harmless, opened the door for emotions long held back. One person spoke what they had carried for months. Another cut in sharply with frustration. Someone burst into tears without knowing why. The air broke open, and what they tried to bury rose up by instinct. You stood in the middle of that swirl, and even as chaos rose like a tide, you remained steady, not because you were stronger than them, but because you had already walked through storms inside yourself, so you were not swept away by the waves of others. You knew what it meant to face truth, so you were not afraid when it appeared in someone else. Some looked at you with blame, as if their loss of control had been caused by you, but deep in their eyes, you saw something else. They knew that truth had been there all along. You were only the mirror that made turning away impossible, and your heart held no resentment. You understood that people react most fiercely when they stand before a door to truth they are afraid to open. After a while, when the turbulence settled, the room became so quiet you could hear each person breathing. Fatigue lay exposed. But within that fatigue was a lightness only those who have faced truth can feel, even if they did not say it. You knew they had stepped into a new threshold of themselves, one they would never have reached if you had not passed through their lives. You did not come to force anyone to change, but you were placed in their lives like a wind that blows away dust that had covered their vision for too long. Dust always stings the eyes when it rises, but when it settles, everything becomes clearer, and that clarity belongs to them, not to you. You were only the catalyst that allowed what needed to surface. When you left that room, you carried nothing but calm. You did not think you were special. You did not think you caused the shift. But you knew this: when the light within you stands still, truth begins to move. And in a world where people are used to living behind layers of cover, you become a gentle yet powerful reminder that nothing can remain buried forever. Those who were present that day, whether they admit it or not, walked away with hearts slightly changed. Some would think about it for days. Some would feel angry at you for making them see what they avoided. Some would thank you in silence. But all of them knew that you were the reason what they had buried deep began to crack the surface and rise. This was not magic. It was the energy of a soul that learned how to stand between light and darkness without losing its honesty. There were relationships you once held with both hands, trying to keep them from breaking, trying to prove that kindness was enough to save what had already begun to rot from the inside. But there comes a moment, after your heart has passed through enough trials by fire, when you understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you to the end of the road. Some souls are only meant for a short stretch, and the longer you hold on, the more you lose yourself. When that truth becomes clear, you no longer use tears or regret to keep them close. You choose to end it. And when you end it, it happens as swiftly as a sword falling at the exact moment it must. What makes others tremble is not that you leave. It is that you leave without noise, without blame, without explanation, without warning. You withdraw your energy from someone the way the sun withdraws its light from a room. Everything remains in place, but the warmth is gone. And it is that absence that makes them realize how important you were. For those you once trusted, your departure feels like a bridge burned in a single night. You do not look back. You do not linger. You do not ask if they are okay. Not because you are cruel, but because you gave them more than enough chances to be sincere, and they chose not to be. When respect is broken, you do not ask for it back. You walk away. Some wake up one morning and discover you have vanished from their lives as if you never existed. Their messages fall into silence. Their calls go unanswered. Familiar paths of contact turn into closed doors. They grow confused. They panic. Then they begin retracing everything to find the mistake, but you leave no trace. You do not create a dramatic farewell for them to cling to. You leave as if your soul has completed a cycle, and everything that needed to close has closed. Only in that silence do they begin to see the role you once played in their lives. You were the one who lifted them when they lost themselves. You were the one who listened when no one else would. You were gentle enough to lean on, yet strong enough to never be denied. When you disappear, they are forced to face a space so vast it takes their breath away. You know why you can do this, what many others cannot, because you understand the law of life. Some bonds, if not cut, will slowly drain your energy. You no longer fear loneliness. You no longer believe that leaving is failure. You know that leaving at the right time is survival. And it is in these decisive moments that your sacred seal awakens the number 999. Not by accident, not by superstition. 999 is the sign of completion, a cycle closing so a new door can open. It is a sacred farewell between your soul and what has finished its role. You step through the door of 999 not with a shattered heart, but with a heart wider, more mature. If hearing 999 makes something inside you stir, it is not coincidence. It is a sign that you too are standing in a similar zone of transformation, a threshold where once you cross, the old can no longer cling to you. And if you feel resonance with that number, you may share it. That is how those on the same path recognize one another. For those you cut off, they do not only lose you, they lose the strongest version of themselves, the version they could only access when they were near you. They look into the emptiness you leave behind and begin to hear the echo of behaviors they once thought meant nothing. Words they spoke to you in moments of smallness now ring louder. Times they underestimated you turn into blades, piercing straight back into them. You are not the one punishing them. Their own conscience does that. Then you realize something profound every time you cut off a relationship that is no longer clean. You do not only free yourself from harm, you also free them from the illusion that they can treat light as if light does not know how to defend itself. Your silence becomes the lesson they must learn, whether they want to or not. It is not that you never felt pain when leaving, but that pain no longer weakens you. It makes you brighter. You do not end things to seek revenge. You end them to protect the sacred space you have guarded with blood, with time, with tears, with the moments you healed yourself when no one stood beside you. And the strange thing is that after each time you walk lighter, as if someone has cut away the cords that once dragged you downward. You step into a new quiet where your soul speaks more clearly, where the space around you widens, where your breath deepens. You are not running from anyone. You are simply choosing not to carry what no longer fits the road you are walking. When someone can no longer handle the truth, no longer honor the light within you, or no longer keep their intentions clean, you leave them where they stand. And you continue forward without apologizing for protecting yourself. Not everyone will understand that choice, but mature souls will recognize this cutting off is not an ending. It is a door. and the one who walks through it is always the one brave enough to choose truth over familiarity. There are moments when you only want to stand still, to keep a conversation light like any other, yet somehow, the moment you speak, the moment you ask a single question, the moment you tilt your head and observe the person in front of you, the walls inside them begin to shift. You are not trying to press into them. You are not trying to dig anything out. But you have walked too far on your inner journey to not see what is trembling beneath the surface of another human being. And that is exactly what makes the weaknesses they hide most carefully suddenly break open like a crack that can no longer be covered. One day, you are talking with someone who appears quite confident. They arrive with a strong posture, slightly exaggerating themselves the way they often do, to hold their place in the eyes of others. They speak with a wide smile, with an enthusiasm that feels a bit forced, as if every sentence is a layer of clothing they put on to hide what they are not ready for anyone to see. You do not doubt them. You simply listen, but that listening without judgment, without interruption, without softening the truth, causes them to waver in front of you. Then, in the flow of conversation, you release a very ordinary sentence, one that carries no weight at all for most people. But for them, your words strike what they hide like a finger pressing into a bruise that has not healed. They blink faster. The smile catches on their lips. No longer smooth as before, they turn their face away for a second, as if searching for a place to escape your gaze. But there is nowhere to escape, because they are not running from you. They are running from themselves. Every person carries a place they try to avoid touching: the fear of not being enough, the wound of abandonment, the jealousy they thought they buried, or a childhood hurt that was never healed. When they are near you, these things rise like fish stirred from the bottom of the water. They want to stay calm, but they cannot. Their inner world begins to stir in ways they cannot control. You hear it in their voice. You see it in how they shift the focus of the conversation. Moments ago, they spoke with confidence. Now their voice turns slightly hoarse. They smile to cover it, but the smile is thin, like paper soaked with water. They try to appear fine, but their eyes say they are not fine at all. You do not scold them. You do not act victorious. You simply stand there with the calm built from years of healing yourself. What they see in you is not only someone listening, but a soul that has touched corners of the inner world they have never dared to enter. That unsettles them. Confusion turns into defense. Defense turns into tension, and tension turns into exposure they cannot control. Sometimes they react more strongly by avoiding. One sentence from you makes them sit up straight. One look makes their voice break. They begin to speak in circles, as if trying to pull you away from a place you were never trying to touch. They tell longer stories, add unnecessary details just to move away from the emotional zone rising inside them. But the more they try, the more the cracks show. Then silence appears. That silence is not yours. It is theirs. A kind of silence that loosens the barriers they have built for so long. You look at them, and they look down, because they know you have just seen what they never wanted anyone to see. They know you do not need them to say it out loud to understand. Hours after leaving you, they still hear that sentence echoing in their mind. The sentence that felt ordinary to you becomes a needle pressing into the softest place in their heart. They repeat every word, not to analyze you, but to analyze themselves. Why did their heart race? Why did they lose balance? Why did they react that way to someone who was simply honest? Then at night, when no one is around, they remember your eyes, not the eyes of someone piercing others, but the eyes of someone who has faced themselves so deeply they no longer avoid the world. Those eyes force them to hear their own inner voice, the voice they silenced long ago because they believed silence was safer. They lie there, eyes wide open, and the truth becomes too clear to deny. You did not hurt them. You only touched a place they never dared to touch themselves. And in that moment, they understand why you made them lose their composure. Not because you are stronger, but because you are more real. Some later come back to you, not to oppose you, but to act normal as if nothing happened, trying to regain the image they once held. But you look at them for 1 second and know they have thought deeply. You hear their voice and know they are more careful. You feel their energy and know they are asking themselves whether they have the courage to be honest with who they are. Others avoid you, not because they hate you, but because they are not ready to continue facing their own darkness. They need time, they need distance. They need to learn how to breathe before standing again in your presence. You once thought you were the reason they felt uncomfortable, but the more you mature, the more you understand that you did not create that pain. You only reflected it, and that reflection is not punishment. It is an invitation to step into a truer version of themselves. But not everyone is brave enough to accept it, and that is not your responsibility. You were not sent into their lives to endure their pretense. You were sent to awaken what they hide so it can no longer sleep. Those strong enough will heal. Those not ready will walk away. None of that is your fault. You are simply clear water that makes the mud rise. For souls who are ready, clear water is a gift. For souls who are not, it becomes fear. But whatever they choose, you continue walking forward, carrying the honesty that has been tested by fire. And anyone brave enough to stand before you with an open heart will be changed, not by your power, but by the power of the truth you live. You did not choose to become a catalyst. Life threw you into fire, and that very fire shaped you into someone whose presence alone is enough to make the world around you move. Not because you impose your will on anyone, not because you want to change anyone, but because your soul carries a frequency that does not allow falsehood to remain still. And when you pass through someone's life, even in a brief conversation, they still carry your imprint like the mark left on water where a stone has fallen. There was a time you met someone who had grown used to living in repeating cycles, so much so that they believed that was life itself. They did things they no longer loved. They stayed in relationships that no longer made them feel alive. They chased goals that others had placed on their shoulders long ago. Everything repeated day after day, like a clock already set. They did not complain because they believed it was normal, but that normality was like a closed room left unopened for too long, and you stepped in like the first person to gently pull the curtain and let light enter. You spoke only a few honest sentences. There was no teaching tone, no judgment, but that honesty filled their inner room like a gust of wind that stirred up years of settled dust, and they felt lost. You saw it in their eyes, the confusion of realizing they had lived too long without asking a single question about themselves. They tried to act normal. They nodded, smiled lightly, changed the subject, but you could feel the movement beneath the surface, like the ground trembling before it splits. They began to think more about the things they had long accepted. They saw the exhaustion in dreams that no longer fit them. They felt suppressed emotions rising, not to destroy them, but to signal that they no longer wanted to live that way. A few days later, they became unusually quiet, not because they were angry with you, but because their mind was opening, listening to voices they had once tried to silence. Old anxiety returned, but this time not to frighten them, but to remind them that something in their life needed to change. They began to remember every word you spoke that day. Remember your calm eyes. Remember the feeling of looking at you and seeing themselves, not the role they played, but the version they had pressed down and hidden. Then they began to shift, slowly, quietly, not through sudden big decisions, but through questions they had never dared to ask. Why am I living like this? What am I chasing? What do I truly want? If I were not afraid anymore, what would I do? Those questions became a quiet fire inside them. They hid it from others, but they could not hide it from you. You looked at them and immediately saw the movement others might call a crisis, but you knew it was life waking up. Then what could not be avoided happened. Their life began to change. Relationships that no longer fit began to fall away. Jobs that no longer made them feel alive slowly slipped from their hands. Old habits became uncomfortable, no longer fitting as before. They felt pushed out of the safe zones they were used to, but you were the one who gave them the courage to stop clinging. At first, they might blame you. They might think you were the reason they felt unstable. But the deeper they went, the more they understood that you did not bring chaos. You only brought light, and that light revealed the truth. The life they were living no longer matched their soul. They changed. Sometimes they resisted that change. Sometimes they ran in circles to avoid it. But in the end, they still had to return and face it. And when they stepped through the threshold of truth, they realized what you had known all along: change is not destruction. It is an invitation to step into a wider, deeper, stronger version of oneself. And you keep walking. You do not ask whether anyone understands you. You do not demand recognition for the impact you bring. You do not wait for gratitude because you understand that you are not here to save or lead anyone. You are here to awaken, and awakening is the work of truth, not of the ego. You are the intersection of light and darkness. The light in you helps others see the paths they have hidden. The darkness in you helps them see what they conceal. And together they form a frequency that only those brave enough to live honestly can withstand. Those who stay with you are not without flaws. They stay because they are courageous. Those who leave are not leaving because you are wrong. They leave because they are not yet ready to face themselves. And every shift that happens around you is not caused by you, but because truth always moves in the presence of a soul that knows how to live honestly. In the end, what you need to remember is not the power you carry, but why you carry it. This world does not need more souls pretending to be strong. It needs souls brave enough to look into their own darkness and emerge brighter. And you, through everything you have walked through, have become a living reminder. Truth never comes to destroy, it comes to rebuild. You are proof that those who carry both light and darkness are not a threat. They are a necessity, because they bring what this unbalanced world lacks most, an energy strong enough to return everything to its true shape. And your journey, though it has gone far, is only just beginning.
Grateful that you chose to spend these moments in the light of this story. If it touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell so the next whisper of light may find its way back to you.